going to be tuning into a webinar brought to you by our very own Muna. She is one of the newest members of our NJ4S Union Hub team. So please allow me to introduce her and just share a little bit about her. For those of you just joining, my name is Safa Basadik, and I'm a supervising prevention consultant for the Union Hub. And I'm going to be hosting our webinar today. But before we get into the actual presentation, I'm going to share with you Muna's bio. So Muna is a prevention consultant at NJ4S. She graduated with a bachelor's in public health from Kane University, and right now she's currently pursuing her master's in public administration with a concentration on health services administration from Kane University. So Muna's journey in prevention began with her fellowship through the New Jersey Prevention Network, or NJPN, and she gained valuable experience with prevention initiatives. So during her fellowship, she graduated from the National Coalition Academy under the instruction of the CADCA trainers, where she developed a foundation in coalition building and substance abuse prevention. Now she works towards her prevention specialist certification, and she continues to focus on creating impactful evidence-based programs, supporting sustainable health outcomes. And outside of her career life and her personal life, she enjoys photography, scrapbooking, and roller skating, and she loves to explore new hobbies. So through her work and personal passions, she strives to inspire others and to embrace growth, connection, and wellness in all aspects of life. So, without further ado, I will be turning it to Muna. And Muna, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Safa, for that nice introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. So, as she said, my name is Muna, and today my topic is support systems and their importance in our lives. So, before we dive in, I just wanted to go through the agenda real quick, just so we have some kind of idea about the presentation that awaits us. So, for starters, I want to introduce and explore different viewpoints on our topic. So, I'd like to just introduce different ways that I like to see the topic so we can just broaden how we understand ourselves. There's also going to be an interactive reflection. So I'm going to be posing some reflective questions and activities that will just help us explore this topic in a personal way. Then I want to discuss ways to build a support system. And then all I ask from you is your continuous participation in the discussion. I invite you to share all your thoughts and insights throughout the presentation. And towards the end, I'll have some time for questions. Like here we have some examples. Wolves stick together in packs. We have elephants. Gorillas live in like a group as well. Even the insects, they all are group animals. What are some advantages that come with being social in the animal kingdom? For starters, social groups provide access to potential mates, which makes reproduction and mate selection easier. So, for example, penguins are a really good example. During the breeding season, penguins gather in large colonies where males court the females. I don't know if you heard, like they bring them pebbles or gifts, but it makes it easier because they live in a group to find a mate and then reproduce. We also have another advantage, which is protection from predators. Because living in groups means animals can take turns looking out for danger. So if one of them sleeping or taking care of the kids, another one could be on watch, and then each one takes turns. We also have reduced stress. So being around social companions can actually lower stress levels. A lot of animals actually benefit from this. Elephants are a good example because they form strong social bonds with each other. So if a mother elephant's grieving her baby, they come together and actually support each other, and they mourn together. Then we have sharing of information. So social animals learn from each other by communicating with others in their groups. So this helps them adapt to new challenges in their environment. There are so many examples of this, but one notable one is bees, because they are really good communicators. They work in a colony. So when bees go out into, the fields and they see a source of nectar or a source of what have you, they go back to the colony and communicate that, and then the rest of the bees go. So that's an interesting way that that's used. And then finally, we have cooperative hunting. So, coordinating hunting strategies helps them find food more efficiently. So, wolves are an example of this, and lionesses. So, wolves hunt in packs and they work together to bring down larger prey. So, if there's a prey that's bigger than them, if they go as a group, they can catch it easier and then everyone eats more. So, yeah, those are just some examples. So, like the previous creatures, humans are also very social creatures. We are naturally wired to live in groups from and form connections and thrive in social environments. So, some examples of our social behaviors include an innate need for connection. We also have communication and language. Humans are just like the top in language out of all animals. Even though most social animals do have a language, humans have like hundreds of languages. So we also have cooperative behavior because we naturally work together to achieve common goals. We also have emotional empathy, we have social norms and customs, and we have social learning. So before we dive back into our topic, I wanted to make a quick detour to talk a little bit about human needs. So this triangle that you see, how many of you are familiar with it? It's a theory that maps out human needs in kind of like a hierarchy or a pyramid. It's the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. A little bit about that. So the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, for those of you that aren't familiar, is a theory that explains how our needs as humans are organized, starting with the most basic and moving up to more complex ones that kind of build on top of the foundation. So as we meet our most basic needs, we're able to focus on achieving higher goals as people. Most basic needs are physiological needs. That would be the most basic one on the hierarchy. Um, so that includes obviously like food, water, sleep. For example, having a roof over your head and enough food to keep you going. That's a basic physiological need. So safety needs, that includes feeling secure and stable in our lives, like knowing you're safe at home or having a steady job. So the next one is love and belonging, which includes relationships with others, feeling connected, and so on. So think about spending time with friends or feeling close to your family. Keep that in mind for later. And then the next one is esteem needs. So that's feeling good about ourselves and getting respect from others. So it's like when you achieve something you're proud of or get recognized for your hard work. So like when you graduate or you get a new job or a promotion, or even it could be anything, not just education. And then the last final one is self-actualization. So that is when we reach our full potential and grow as a person. So, for example, chasing your dreams or learning new things that make you feel fulfilled within yourself. That is obviously that can't happen unless you have all your other needs met. And since we as humans are social beings, we're not wired to fulfill any of these needs on our own. So our ability to meet these needs often depends on the support and connections that we have with others. So keep that in mind because we're going to talk next about support systems. That's a network of people who can provide an individual with practical or emotional support. We also have one from the Collins Dictionary, which is a group of people who provide someone with help, advice, or encouragement in a time of difficulty. And we had the Oxford Dictionary, which says it is a group of people who give someone help, encouragement, and support when they are experiencing difficulties. And we have the Cambridge Dictionary, and it says a group of people who give someone help, money, encouragement, etc. when they are in a difficult situation. So after we've defined what a support system is, we're gonna talk a little bit more on different types. So the first one I have actually is emotional support. So that includes friends, families, or partners who provide empathy, love, and comfort during tough times. This one helps us feel valued and understood and contributes to our wellness and happiness. One example of that could be a close friend or family member who listens to you vent after a stressful day, or maybe like a partner providing empathy during difficult times or anything like that. So practical support, in other words, is called tangible support. So that can include anything that has anything to do with assistance, whether like with daily tasks or responsibilities or financial help. It could be caregiving. So this could be something you do for a young person or an elderly person, or even helping someone with just chores. A lot of times women with postpartum require practical support, like someone to help them with their day-to-day tasks. So that's the kind of thing, practical support. More examples include like a neighbor helping you by offering a ride when you're unable to get to an appointment, or picking up your kids, or a coworker covering you for a shift when you need to take the day off. So things like that. It could be anything. Informational support, it's kind of looked over, but it is an important part of support. This includes anything like advice, knowledge, or guidance from people like mentors, teachers, or professionals who just help you solve your problems or reach your goals. So, like an example could be like your supervisor. If you have questions, if you need some guidance in your career, they can help you with that, or a mentor. Next, we have companionship support. So that's just like the presence of somebody there to support you and keep you company. Think of it like it could be even like a companion animal, like a pet or anything of that sort, like a emotional support animal. An example could be like if you want to go to an event, but you're kind of nervous to go by yourself, your friend would go with you, or a friend being there for you when you're facing like when you're mourning someone or moving to a new city, they can just hang out with you and spend more time with you. So that could include companionship. And then we have appraisal support. So that includes feedback or affirmations that helps individuals evaluate their decisions or progress. So an example could be a teacher giving you constructive feedback on a project, or like a professor, um, helping you present at a convention, something like that. And last but not least, we have professional support. So that can include services that are provided by professionals and experts. So like clinicians, doctors, nutritionists. So an example like could be a therapist or a counselor offering psychological services to help you manage anxiety or trauma, or a nutritionist providing you a guide on how to eat if you maybe like are struggling with diabetes or something like that. So yeah, that pretty much encompasses the types of support. I want you to keep them in mind for this next activity. Building a support system doesn't happen overnight, obviously, especially when it's meeting new people. But there are different ways that you can leverage what you already have. But before we start with anything related to like outsourcing our needs, you have to actually identify them. So to build a support system, you really need to start by like taking inventory on your own needs and on yourself and what you want. So if you have specific goals, then you can actually kind of tailor what you're seeking. So you ask yourself things like, what kind of support do I need? Is it someone to listen or offer guidance? Or is it someone to help me in my career path? It's different for everybody. Could be more than one thing. You also want to look at what you value in people. So if you're drawn to people that have empathy, you might want to seek those qualities in someone. Or if you want to be around people that are good communicators, you might have to just assess like who you're really surrounding yourself with. That also comes down to your personality. And then you can think about who inspires and motivates you. So if you're looking for appraisal support, you want to find someone that you actually want to kind of be like, or someone you trust their opinion. You don't want to take advice from someone you don't want to live a life like them, if that makes sense. And you want to be around people that are positive and that lift you up. If you want accountability support, you might have to find someone. No, if you want appraisal support, you might have to find someone that can give you the accountability and just doesn't just say yes, yes, yes to everything. When you're clear on these things, it gets a lot easier to pick the people that you want around you. And then number two, after you've taken inventory on yourself, you establish connections. So that's where you kind of grow your network, and that's a lot your kind of social skills come into play. So you have to start on focusing the relationships that you already have and kind of like lean into your inner circle, see who's there, who you already have that you haven't been communicating enough with. Sometimes the people around you don't know what your needs are, and because you haven't voiced them, they didn't know that they could show up for you in that way. So you can look towards your family, friends, coworkers, or neighbors as your foundational support, and just nurture the bonds that you already have. This is where I come to like the communication styles. A lot of people like to say like, I'm a really bad texter. I'm not good at getting back to people. We have to throw that out. You can't be like that anymore. If you really want to nurture a support system, you have to be a good communicator. You have to stay in touch, whether it's a text or like a phone call or just a coffee catch up, like you have to be consistent with your check-ins. And then not only that, but you have to actually share what you're looking for. If you have questions, ask. Don't be shy to ask for help. Don't be shy to ask for advice. You have to be able to step outside your comfort zone. If you don't already have a foundational support system or that many people around you, you might be in another country from the people that you grew up with. This is where you have to branch out. So this is the most uncomfortable part of being of seeking a support system. I've experienced it. I've moved a lot. growing up, so I've had to build new friendships like so many different places. I've moved schools. The most recent time, like I made a big move was during the pandemic, actually. I used to live in Connecticut and then the pandemic happened, so I moved back to Jersey where my family is, had to start from scratch. That was a time when I really wanted like, so I made the inventory on myself. Like I knew I wanted to make more friends, I wanted to expand my network. So I went and sought that. There are a lot of ways you can do that online too, and I personally used it. So there's like I think Cheryl mentioned Meetup. So a lot of people use Meetup to like find people who have the same hobbies as them nearby in your community. You could attend different events that people go to. That's a cool app. I've looked at that. I personally used Bumble BFF, so I would find people that have the same hobbies as me, mainly roller skating and photography, and then I would go out and just meet them. It was a really fun time for me, and I made a lot of friends that way. Other ways you could do that is just online forums. Like if you have a really specific hobby, um, like gaming or anything really. You could go on Reddit, you can go on TikTok. You just use any platform you want to meet more people and communicate. They don't necessarily have to be physically present, but you can always find people in your area. We're going to talk a bit about how to be supportive to others. In relationships and friendships, to be supportive, these are some steps. So we have to be a good listener and really listen to it when people are speaking and opening up. When people are talking, you have to give them your full attention and ask questions to keep the conversation going. Show them that you're understanding what they're saying. And if you want to ask clarifying questions, that's fine, as long as you don't interrupt too much. Really just show them that you're listening and you care. To always show empathy and understanding and try not to invalidate how they're feeling or their thoughts. You always have to step up for your friends and loved ones. So if you see that they're struggling, offer specific help, whether it's running errands or just hanging out. Sometimes just being there is really all they ask. Offer encouragement and motivation. So always remind them of their strengths, especially when they're doubting themselves. So some people might come to you for like esteem support or appraisal support. You have to kind of try to see if what they need is actually advice versus just like support. So sometimes people don't want to hear your advice. They just want a shoulder to lean on. Sometimes it's okay to ask because you can't always tell. But in these instances, just you always want to try to boost people's confidence, with honesty, of course, and offer them help in reaching their goals. We always ask that people have to respect boundaries. This is really crucial in support systems because you can really lose someone if you don't respect their boundaries. So try to find out when they need space and don't push for more than they're ready to share. Obviously, if someone isn't fully ready to be vulnerable or open, just leave it at that. Wait for them to be ready. And if they want advice, they'll usually ask for it. Number 6, I have celebrate achievements. This is really big for me because I'm learning to celebrate my own achievements. And I really appreciate when my support system shows up for me in that way. Whether it's a big or small achievement, it feels very special when people are celebrating you. So whether it's just like a dinner out, I like to do that with my family, or just like a card or a gift. My friend, when I got this job, she came to my house with flowers and balloons, which I thought was really sweet. So I always also like to show people that kind of support. Always be honest. We already touched on that a little bit, but it's so important to keep the communication real and open. So always share how you feel, and when you offer feedback, make sure it's honest but kind. So you have to watch your tone, how you're saying things. Like obviously, unless you have that kind of relationship, usually with siblings, you can be very blunt, but it's always good, you know, good practice to just be kind and then check in regularly with people. Don't wait for people to reach out. People like to say like, oh, the phone goes two ways, but sometimes you have to gauge like what if they're really going through something, if you haven't heard from someone in a minute, try to reach out, just check in. Sometimes a quick text can do the trick. And then I want to say just like be understanding and patient. This kind of everything kind of touched on that, but this is so important in relationships. You have to let people take their time. Some people, the type of support they require is space. So just don't rush people through their struggles. My next slide is going to be about how to be supportive in the workplace. Number one, be a good listener. Just like before, you have to be a good listener basically everywhere. As an adult, that's just a skill you have to have. So when a coworker is speaking, you should give them your full attention, show you're engaged, give thoughts and feedback, and just encourage open communication and try to be inclusive. Let everyone have a voice. Make sure people feel comfortable sharing their ideas, concerns, or frustrations. I feel like we have that here. Like that's very, second, offer help and be a resource. So if you see someone struggling with a task, you can offer assistance, whether it's lending a hand or sharing your resources. Working together and collaboratively on challenges, fosters collaboration in our workplace. So if you do that, it just improves everything across the board. Number three, I have give constructive feedback. So when offering feedback, focus on what can be improved while also acknowledging what's working well. So think of it kind of like a compliment sandwich. So you can say something positive, and then you can give the feedback that you wish they would change or you wish they could improve on, and then also say something positive. That's the way I like to do it. Always support your coworkers by helping them develop their skills and offering useful resources. And then the same will come back to you. Number four, I have celebrate successes. So always recognize and celebrate your coworkers' accomplishments, whether big or small. Whether you're sharing praise or sending a congratulatory message, acknowledging their achievement really boosts morale and shows appreciation. And it's just the right thing to do. It's always good to be happy for other people. Number five is foster inclusivity and team spirit. So I have it here as team building. So I would say, and this one, usually it's the supervisors that do it, but also I've seen like Bintu and Brianna do some kind of team building activity. So it's always good to organize social events or team building, obviously, like with the capacity that you have. That always helps strengthen relationships and create a sense of belonging, love and belonging. So it's good to do that to promote the environment that we want. Number six, I have offer support and check in. So it's good to take the time to ask your coworkers how they're doing, especially when things are hectic. So if there's a lot of programs, sometimes I like to just check in with people like, oh, how's your day been? How was the program? Um, it's good to, and then maybe sometimes you can see if you can support that person, offer practical help. And then for seven, I have be a resource. So sharing useful information or tools that could make your coworkers' jobs easier. So if you have more experience or knowledge to offer, and there's someone new that might need help or anything like of the sort, it's good to offer that help. I've personally have found a lot of support here. Whenever I have something new that I want to do or something I'm struggling on doing, I can always ask anyone and I always receive help. Today, Brianna was helping me put in tickets, so thank you. A respect work-life balance. So that goes with respect boundaries. You always have to be mindful of when your coworkers need time to recharge or attend to personal matters or breaks. Always encourage them to take their breaks and use their time off to ensure they maintain their well-being before they can put their best foot forward in the office. For nine, I have promote a positive work environment, and we do that by staying positive ourselves. So even during challenging situations, maintaining a positive attitude can go a long way. If you avoid negativity and promote a culture of respect and optimism, that helps across the board. And number 10, I have lead by example again. So always be a role model for supportive behavior and, offer support when you can. And that encourages other people to do the same. Sometimes in workplaces where no one offers support, then nobody else wants to do it. So the more we do it, the more we encourage other people to follow in your footsteps. This is an anthropologist called Margaret Mead, and one of her students asked her what the first sign of civilization was, and she said a broken femur was the first sign of civilization. You might think it's a pot or a tool or a weapon, but she says it's a healed femur, which is the largest bone in your body. She said no animal survives a broken leg long enough for the bone to heal. A broken femur that has healed is evidence that someone has taken time to stay with the one who fell, has bound up the wound, has carried the person to safety, and has tended the person through recovery. Helping someone else through difficulty is where civilization starts. I personally love this quote, and I really wanted to include it and leave you all with this thought-provoking piece.
Thank you so much, Muna, and thank you all for tuning in and participating. I can really say that that was such an insightful, informational presentation. I think we can all benefit from. You did a wonderful job. So round of applause to you. Rashana's giving you like the little round of applause,
Yeah.
applause emoji. That's so cute. Um, I left the link for the feedback alongside with the QR code. So if you would all please do us a favor and provide us some feedback, let us know how we're doing. If you'd like to keep up with what we have going on in the community, feel free to follow us on our social media. Our Instagram is NJ4S Union. That goes for our Facebook as well. And if you have any other feedback or suggestions, commentary, any other suggestions or anything you would just like to let us know, please feel free to send us an email. Our email is nj4sunion@preventionlinks.org. Otherwise, do not forget to tune in with us next week. We will be tuning into another insightful presentation, and it would be brought to you by our very own Brianna Bryant. So we look forward to seeing everyone all next week, same place, same time. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.